What's going on, everyone, and happy Thursday. We have one day left to the week, so let's make it count. Looking at the market today, about 75% of stocks in the S&P 500 finished in the green, with the usual powerhouses like Meta and Nvidia leading the way, as both of those stocks also made new all-time highs yet again. In today's video, we're going to cover everything important in the market that you have to know right now. We're going to cover some setups for tomorrow, and we're also going to cover how layoffs are starting to rise at their quickest pace since 2009. So stick with us all the way to the end. We have one more day left of the week, so let's make it count. And Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, the market was pretty awesome today. We saw the SPY start to run above that 514 high, and it was an awesome breakout all the way up to around 515.85, almost hit 516 there at the end of day. Then it started trickling back down a little bit heading into tomorrow. I noticed QQQ was down, but today was the day for the tech stocks once again. Like you mentioned, Nvidia did fantastic. Meta did fantastic too. But the first thing that we're going to be talking about today is those layoffs, Mike, and that's actually some pretty negative news, right? Layoffs are set to hit the highest for any months for any February since 2009, guys. That is a pretty bad stat. 2009, we're going back to the Great Recession. So, Mike, that's some pretty bad news. And while the market was great today, there is some challenges facing the economy right now. And I know Powell even talked about it a little bit today.
No doubt. And what's interesting specifically with this layoff data is that we're going to have more like unemployment and I guess you could say unemployment data come out tomorrow before the market even opens. So 1 hour before market open, the unemployment rate and the non-farm payrolls will be released. So keep that in mind. That can definitely shake up the market. And then another thing worth noting right now is that we have a pretty big stock, Broadcom, that just reported earnings in after hours today. For those of you who don't know this company, they are the 10th heaviest weighted company in the entire S&P 500. I know stocks like Apple and Microsoft and Amazon and Nvidia get all the love, but AVGO is definitely a pretty powerful company. And so far, they are moving to the downside. They are related and they move with all the other chip stocks. So to see them falling is not only a worrying sign for the market, but it can also shake up some of the extreme euphoria that we've seen with some of these other chip stocks like Nvidia, TSM, AMD, and others.
Yeah, and even like some of these more volatile ones like SMCI and ARM, you might start to see them fall a little bit. I'm surprised that they're not down even more in after hours here. And another chip stock, MRVL, has also been falling to the downside. So it's like the two big chip stocks reporting tonight are both kind of in the red there. But to see AVGO be the 10th biggest stock in the S&P, that kind of threw me off, Mike. I didn't realize they were that large of a company, but they are one of the powerhouses out there in the chip sector, so we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on them tomorrow. And in after hours, so far, these candles are volatile. I mean, on this one candle, we saw a print all the way down to 1280. Not sure if that was a glitch or not, but dang, sometimes these earnings get pretty volatile on these moves.
Yeah, and it's not like their earnings were bad either. It's just like they weren't good enough to like truly wow investors. And what's really worth noting is that, as we all know, over the past couple of months, the chip and AI related stocks have like single-handedly carried the market. Like, it is no surprise that when we see Nvidia shooting to the upside, that a lot of other stocks follow behind it. So it's like whenever you see, big powerhouse chip stocks like Nvidia or AVGO or anything like that, moving in either direction, that has a giant and direct influence not only on the overall market, but on many other stocks. So like, they're very important to watch going into tomorrow. If you're going to watch like one stock as a reference point, I would say make it AVGO, but it's between AVGO and Nvidia. Like, they're super important right now, and they are running the show. So definitely pay attention to them. And while AVGO's earnings were pretty interesting, we also had a couple other earnings reports come out today, like Costco and DocuSign, and they're moving decently in after hours, but I would say overall Broadcom or AVGO is definitely the one to watch.
Yeah, like Costco's actually falling off pretty hard here in after hours. That's negative to see, obviously. You never want to see something like that. Now, DocuSign was actually having a pretty decent move, and whenever I go to DocuSign's daily, I start to like it coming up off of this recent dip. I feel like there could be some upside potential coming in there. So keep your eyes on DocuSign tomorrow. At least they're moving up, right? It's the one positive stock tonight that we're looking at.
There we go. And then, of course, we can't forget about the big man, Jerome Powell, and his testimony today. So he had some decent, I guess you could say, I don't want to say speeches, but he basically said that the Fed is not far from having the confidence it needs to cut rates, which is a good sign. There wasn't anything too crazy that happened out of today's testimony, but at the same time, that's not a bad thing because a lot of times if there is something crazy associated with Powell, that's usually not the best sign for the market.
Yeah, it's really not. Like, that volatility sometimes, like, if they ask him, like, a specific question and then he, like, sheds new light onto something, that could be, that could shake up the market quite a bit. I'm actually glad that it didn't today. So, overall, there wasn't too much, but he was a little bit dovish. You know, he said that we're not far off from rate cuts, but then at the same time, that they're going to keep looking at the data. So, we'll see what happens later on in the year, Mike. Hopefully, these rate cuts come sooner rather than later. But, hey, the market's doing good anyways, right? Even though they keep talking about pausing for longer, the market has not cared recently as we hit new all-time highs today. So keep that in mind too. I wonder what's going to happen when these cuts really do start.
Exactly. And then another thing too is like, it's not like we're seeing the market go absolutely crazy in both directions where it's just swinging all over the place. It's more so like the market just keeps on marching higher. Every now and then it pulls back. But like, as we pointed out multiple times over the course of this week, the S&P 500 is on a historic, upward streak, as there has not been a day where the S&P 500 declined by 2% or more in, well over a year. So, that's just another thing to keep in mind. It's just a matter of time before this streak gets broken. But in the meantime, it has been a bull fest.
It really has, Mike, and I feel like the Bears are going to maybe start to wake up out of hibernation soon, but for now, keep enjoying these nice runs, guys, because these breakouts have been amazing. Like, you even just go to NVIDIA, the breakouts have been very simple and easy to trade for the most part. Like, we're breaking out above highs in pre-market. The market opens today, continues to rip higher, and doesn't really look back from open. Even our surge bot killed it today on NVIDIA to the upside, pretty much straight up from the call out. So there's been a lot of upside opportunity, and keep looking for these breakouts, guys. It's even running in after hours here, even as AVGO's pulling back.
There we go. All right, well, Tom, let's get into the good stuff for today, which are some setups and predictions for tomorrow. I know I keep talking about these two stocks, and they keep working, so I'm going to keep hitting on them. And that is GLD and SLV. Technically, they're ETFs, and GLD follows gold, SLV follows silver. I've been bullish on these ones all week long, and they keep going up nonstop. I think they can still go up more at the same time, given they are already up a decent amount. It would not be all that surprising if they did eventually pull back, but I will say going forward, I am still bullish on gold and silver. Gold has broke past record highs, and they're both moving in pretty consistent ways. Just like I said yesterday and the day before that, gold and silver are not stocks that will move by 10% in a day. They're more so stocks that, trend, I guess you could say, more consistently and over the course of multiple days or multiple weeks. But again, I'm still watching these ones closely to the upside.
Yeah, me too, Mike. Gold and silver have been fantastic. I'll definitely keep them on the radar, and gold's right at that $200 level, or at least GLD is. But looking at my first play for tonight, I'm looking at Tesla, and we've seen major rejections off of this huge resistance at 180 multiple times over the past couple days, and this is a huge level on the book map. 180 over the past couple months has been pretty big in general, but today I saw a ton of sellers stacked up right at 180, and you can see here there was a bunch of price action right around that level all morning. So, Mike, I will be watching this 180 resistance. If we continue to bounce off of that and the market starts to pull back, I'll look at puts. But if we start to break out above there and the market keeps blasting, then I will look at a breakout opportunity. The big thing with this one is being adaptable to how that market's running tomorrow.
Yeah, and no software out there shows you where the buyers and sellers are, like Bookmap. Basically, Bookmap has everything you need when it comes to short-term trading, and they have so many different add-ons as well that we haven't even covered too much. One of them we added today, which is the footprint, and it basically shows you a lot more specifically where the buying and selling action is actually taking place. So as we always show in the videos, Bookmap makes it very clear where, buyers and sellers are just sitting there waiting, and knowing that information ahead of time gives you a pretty dang good idea where the stock might start to pivot at. StockedUp members do get a discount. If you've never tried out Bookmap, you have to try it out at least for a month. Try the Global or Global Plus. Try it out for a month, and I think there's a good chance you won't end up canceling. But again, StockedUp members do get a discount. You do have to use the first link in the description and the comments down below, though, to claim that. So keep that in mind, and shout out to Bookmap. But on to my next play. I'm looking at UVXY to the upside. This one is basically follows volatility. If we end up seeing a significant pullback and volatility increases and the market actually starts to fall in a meaningful way, which is something we haven't seen in a while, then this one will do very well. I am only looking at this one to the upside if we actually start to see some meaningful bearish price action, right? If we continue to see SPY march on higher, then I'm not going to try and force UVXY to the upside. It's more so if the market pulls back a decent amount tomorrow, then I will definitely look at playing UVXY to the upside, because this one can do very well when everyone is, I guess you can say, rushing to the exit.
Yeah, it definitely can. This is a very volatile stock, especially when the market falls. And like you said, it kind of follows volatility, obviously. So, I don't want to get that confusing, saying it's a volatile stock and it follows volatility, but but it does move in a meaningful way. Sometimes 7-10% days if the market is down enough. So I will definitely keep my eyes on it, Mike. With my next play, I'm looking at Taiwan Semiconductors. They had a great move today, up 5.39%. They started rejecting end of day at this 150-ish mark. This is going to be a straight-up momentum play. If they're able to break above that high of yesterday around that 150 area, then I will go ahead and look at a continuation. This was a very nice move out of the stock. They're another chip stock, and the main thing with these is just really following that momentum. But I do like TSM short term. It's just, when will it finally, start to give out? But that's really the question with everything right now.
Yep, we shall see. All right, well, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have CCJ to the upside.
Yeah, I was actually watching this one this morning, Mike. Uranium was doing very well. It's sitting right around $44. So if CCJ can break above $44.10, then I'll look at calls.
All right, with the next one, we have TLT, but to the downside.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough move today. It's sitting right on support that we've actually looked at a lot over the past few days. So if it breaks under 95.50, then look at puts, and look at all these hits here. We've actually talked about this multiple times this week.
There we go. And then we can't forget about the stock that at one point everyone used to love so much, and that is Apple for both directions.
Yeah, there's a pretty big support down here around 168.50. If it breaks under there, then eye up some puts. And to the upside, I'm looking at 170. It had some pretty big hits there this week.
All right, so we have the upside level for Apple. We have the downside level as well. Keep a close eye on this one. Don't forget about the downside level with TLT, and then the upside level with CCJ. These three stocks are on watch tomorrow for day trades. Only if they break through the levels Tom listed. We are looking for strong breaks through the levels Tom listed, and then continuations in those directions. Do not play these stocks if they do not break through the levels Tom listed. We want to see a lot of momentum with them. So keep that in mind. But before we move on, we definitely have to hit on today's $645,000 big money trade of the day. Today, we are looking at ticker symbol HAL, which is Halliburton, and the big money put $645,000 into the 37 strike call options that expire on May 17th of 2024. These call options are slightly out of the money. They have a decent amount of time to them, and overall, I definitely like the risk reward with this one. If energy prices were to rise, that would definitely help them out, and that is something that is very possible in the short term. Looking at HAL, I think it presents a really good risk-reward setup based off this like $33 to $34 support area. That could be a good area to de-risk in the event it falls. But in the event the stock rises, you could look to trim for profits closer to 41 or 42. So I like the risk-reward.
Yeah, I actually really like this one in the short term as well. We've been looking at oil stocks a bunch over the past few weeks, and I think that OPEC, what OPEC Plus is doing with their production cuts, just combined with everything that's going on in the world, I could see oil increasing. We've been seeing other oil companies like ZOM, Oxy, CVX starting to uptrend again a little bit. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on HAL, Mike. It's a very interesting setup here, and I really like that support down there that you mentioned. So short term, I really like the opportunity into May. It'll be like a nice 2-month hold.
All right, there we go. So keep a close eye on that one, but we can't move on any further until we give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, 3Huo, who had a great play with some SPX call options. They made a slight 257% gain today on those. So huge shout out to you. Keep up the great work, and you've been a great member for some time now. So I hope to see more screenshots like this from you in the future. And even looking throughout the rest of the Profits channel, it was a pretty good day. So shout out to everyone. But Tom, again, like we said in the beginning of the video, we have one more day left for the week. Fridays always have some of the craziest moving options, considering there's 0 days to expiration. So be ready for tomorrow, guys. It should be a pretty exciting day. As always, stay adaptable. We've been seeing a lot of great bullish action to the upside, but just don't get too focused in one direction. Stay adaptable no matter what, and as always, follow the money.
Yeah, and we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We have the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate 1 hour before the market opens. That could change things a little bit depending on how these numbers come out. So be ready. Join up on the StockedUp live stream tomorrow. Maybe we can get a bit of an idea what's going to go on. But let's go, Mike. Tomorrow's the last day of the week. Let's end on a strong note.
Yep, and again, if you haven't already used Bookmap, try it out at least for a month. Global or Global Plus, StockedUp members do save if you use the link down below. Besides that, let's end the week on a great note.